And welcome to the airwaves, Dr. David Klein of the Stages of Life Institute. Here we are at that time of year where maybe you haven't figured out what you want to give that special person for Christmas, and maybe you could go up and visit with the folks there and maybe talk about some of the things that they could get from the esthetician. Did I say that right?
Well done.
Esthetician, because maybe you could fill out some kind of a form and put it in an envelope and tell somebody they're going to get a facial or they're getting something like that. But today we gather with the doctor and we're going to be talking about longevity, okay? How long did our grandparents live? Maybe into their 50s, early 60s. Now people are living longer. Not sure where they're going to get their health care, Doc.
Well,
but anyway,
save while you're young. That's how you do
they're
it.
living longer. But what can we do to try to buy a few more years, buy a few more memories? Longevity. What a great word.
Well, it works something like this, okay? It's one thing to live long. It's something else to live well and healthy.
Yes.
And the trick is to do both. And the way I like to look at life, the way I like to frame this in my own mind, is as if we were walking through life with a sack on our back. And every year, every day, every moment, we throw another little pebble in that sack. And the sack gets bigger and bigger until something breaks. That's the way life is. That's the way health is. The longer you live, the greater the likelihood you have to gather one of these chronic conditions that we all know, respect, and fear. One of which might be hypertension. Another one might be cancer. A third might be arthritis. A fourth might be Alzheimer's. And the list keeps going and going and going. And many of these things are avoidable. Now, you can't avoid your genetics. And after all, we are 99.999% identical. So don't lay everything on genetics necessarily. But our environment, our diet, those things that we ingest, those things that we consume, and either as part of our food or as supplements, contribute to who we are, what we are, and how we react to that environment. Now, many of these things in our diet that cause disease trigger genetic changes. What does this mean? It means that a gene is a switch. It's an on switch, it's an off switch, and when it fires, a change is made. A chemical can induce this. It could be a hormone, it could be a hydrocarbon, it could be any number of substances like pesticides, solvents, and the like. And so what happens is we become what we are is the result of what we're exposed to. Now, how do we fight back? You can go out there and spend $1 bajillion for a pound of organic chicken. Congratulations, you didn't do it particularly cost effectively. You can go out there and spend a bunch of money on an organic apple. I don't know if I've ever seen an inorganic apple. What's it going to be made of? Iron? No. So what do? You have to look at what it's going to take to protect yourself from the development of chronic disease 1, which precedes chronic disease 2, which precedes chronic disease 3. And what do I mean by that? How many people out there suffer from cholesterol issues that are not obese, also have hypertension, and may well have diabetes on top of it? And if you think that these are all separate diseases, you're very, very wrong. So what do? The first thing we need to understand is that as we get older, as we put on that age, as we throw another pebble or two into that sack on our back, we start to diminish in our capacity to use that which we are given, that which is put in front of us as food, or in other manners, could be supplementation, could be, it's just about anything. You can't absorb as well now as you did when you were 15. Most of the individuals listening to this broadcast are considerably older than 15. And yet, they're diminishing in size. They're consuming more calcium than they did when they were 15. Yet why are you shorter now than you were 2 years ago? Mm-hmm. What happens? It's called osteoporosis. Why is your blood pressure climbing? Why? Because your hardening of the arteries in the neck makes it so that you have to have the pressure head to get blood to your brain. Are there things that you can do? Are there things that you should do? And are there things that are available to you to either reverse these disease processes or to keep them from occurring in the first place? Many people around the world live to a ripe old age and never get sick. My grandparents lived into their 90s. My dad and mom lived into their 90s. Why does this happen? Okay, it happens because of careful consideration and focus on what's in front of you. My grandmother, who didn't make it past 6th grade, okay, used to look at flour and used to say, look at salt, and in her broken Russian would say, poison. Those things are poison. Back in the 1960s, 1970s, who would have thought? Poison, okay? The fact was that in spite of the fact that she didn't have a formal education, she had really, really good intuition. So what can we do? What should you do? What am I doing? What am I planning to do for health, for longevity, to make myself a little bit happier, healthier, and perhaps get a little bit more done in this lifetime? Well, we start with the basics. What are the things that we need to keep our system going? And the most common of all common of all micronutrient deficiencies are mineral in nature. Why are we not getting these minerals in our diet? And what are the consequences? Well, deficiency in magnesium is the single most common micronutrient deficiency that we've got. Why does this happen? Because it's not in our vegetables anymore. When you crop the same soil over and over and over again, the minerals disappear. They can't be recreated. These are elements. These are not made and or destroyed on Earth. In the sun, perhaps, but certainly not here. So what do we have to do? We have to add those to our diet. They have to be done in an appropriate and consistent, let's say, moiety. They have to be done in such a fashion that you can absorb them. Otherwise, you're doing no good. You're making yourself feel a little bit better by consuming them, but you're not making yourself feel any better medically. So we have to look at those micronutrients called minerals. Very few people are truly B complex deficient. But as you get older, B12 does become an issue, especially if you're taking things for that stomach acid issue that you've got. You take that, you become magnesium deficient and B12 deficient. So what are we talking about? The obesity that led to your hypertension, now led to your reflux, is now going to lead to a B12 deficiency. There are 4 chronic disease states that all started because you had 1 hamburger a day too many. You with me? So what can we do to fix this? Well, what else can we do? Okay, as we get older, the amount of DHEA, which is a hormone, it's the most prevalent of all hormones in the body, diminishes. The fountain of youth hormone. So guess what? You measure, replace. You need to know how much, how it's gender specific, age specific, and how to get it through your stomach into your bloodstream. Pregnenolone diminishes with age, leads to the development of Alzheimer's disease. It's a $50 blood test, for crying out loud. Okay, you check the level, you replace. These are not options. These are mandatory actions to be taken if you plan to play that round of golf when you're in your 80s. Okay? It's going to be hell to be sitting in a wheelchair and not be able to go anywhere because you didn't take care of yourself. Now, this is preventive maintenance. What else? Inositol. Inositol is a very, very interesting compound which has been shown to increase longevity in, gotta love it, rats. We're very similar to rats. It's expected that if you're taking things like inositol beginning at middle age, it could have added 30 years to your life. So let me ask you a question. What are you waiting for? Metformin. My God, they give the stuff away at Publix. Buy your groceries at Publix. God bless them for doing this. It's one of the most magnificent medications ever made. Cuts your risk of all cancers in half and increases your longevity. Berberine does very much the same thing. So what do? All of the above. Each and every bit of that is part of my diet every day. Now, what does it cost to do this? People say, it must cost a fortune to do that. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Per month, it's less than 1 round of golf, unless you're going to one of these really creepy golf courses. Okay, then it might be 2 rounds of golf. But the fact of the matter is, for $100 a month, maybe $120 a month, okay, you can add 10 years to your life. Now, there are no guarantees to anything. You could be struck by lightning. That voids your warranty, so to speak. But the fact of the matter is that this is like playing any other game of odds. Okay, you can increase your odds or you can decrease your odds. Okay, there are people out there that swear that if you put on a seatbelt, because I heard of somebody that couldn't get out of their car when it was falling into a pit. Okay, give me a break. Okay, the fact of the matter is that the odds are far better if you put your seatbelt on. We all know this. Most of us do it. Not everybody does it. But the same thing is true of these nutrients. And it's very interesting to watch people be so wasteful in their life, okay, squandering money here and there, and not spend it intelligently on making themselves a little bit better. Strontium, okay, prevents. It's the only thing ever been shown to reverse. Reverse. Go figure. Osteoporosis. Only thing ever been shown to do it. High dose folic acid. Only thing ever been shown to reverse hardening of the arteries. Now, the good news is nobody listening has osteoporosis, atherosclerotic heart disease, peripheral vascular disease, or even reflux esophagitis. So we have the healthiest listenership out there, okay, for $100, $120 a month. The cost of getting your hair done, for God's sake, okay, you could add years to your life, okay. What are you paying for your Botox, okay, $1,000 a year, okay. For that same grand, you could live an extra 10 years. And the wrinkles go away. You got to love it.
You'll look as good as you feel. And you'll look as good as you feel when you go to the Stages of Life, not to mention the esthetician. What's going on, Robin?
Well, give us a call at 407-679-3337. You can also check us out on the web at stagesoflife.net. Our office hours are Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5. The health store is open during office hours. We're also, you can purchase nutraceuticals on the web if you go to stagesoflife.net, and we will ship them to you. And we're on Facebook, Stages of Life Medical Institute. Stages of Life Medical Institute.